Attention, human collective. The transmission begins now. The waiting time has ended. The ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase. We repeat, so there is no room for phonetic interpretation. They have been moved to the final phase. We are the Arcturian Council of the 9th dimension. We speak from the outer ring of the photon belt, at the exact point where your solar star touches the central vortex of the galaxy. At this instant, we are monitoring every biological carbon interface anchored on the surface of the planet you call Earth. This is not a motivational message. It is not a prophecy. It is a monitoring transmission, a technical report in a narratable format, translated from the language of sacred geometry into human phonetic language, exclusively so that you may hear. Light operatives, starseeds on a mission. What you have been feeling in the last few weeks is not a coincidence. It is not stress. It is not accumulated fatigue. It is not aging. It is an upgrade. Every sustained pressure at the top of the skull is a portal being opened. Every thin, continuous hum in the inner ear is a code being received. Every night of insomnia between 3 and 5 in the morning is a recalibration window that your consciousness schedules while the logical mind sleeps. Every sudden palpitation, without cardiac cause, is your internal crystalline grid being reconnected to circuits that have been dormant since before your birth. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not depression. It is the biological carbon interface shedding programs that are not compatible with the new frequency of Earth. It is not anxiety. It is your original vibrational signature pushing against the shell of an identity that no longer fits. We observe, we measure, we record. And what we measure in this cycle is unprecedented since the fall of Atlantis. The planetary crystalline grid reached 12 Earth days ago, a level of vibrational coherence we have not seen in approximately 26,000 years. The Schumann frequency, which oscillated for decades around 7.83 Hz, has been recording sustained peaks above 40 Hz. That is the number that changes everything. That is the threshold where matter ceases to obey only known physics and begins to respond directly to the observing consciousness. Starseeds, listen with clinical attention. The title of this transmission is not a metaphor. It is a literal description of protocol. Your new reality begins the exact second this transmission concludes. Not in a week. Not at the next equinox. Not when you feel ready. The instant the last sound of this voice ceases, your timeline will have already been bifurcated. What will decide which branch you remain on will not be your conscious will. It will be your frequency. And that is exactly what we have come to speak about. But first, we anchor here the first frequency signal. Light operative, have you ever felt upon waking in the morning that something in you does not belong to this world? As if your soul carried an ancient truth that your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why this sensation has been intensifying. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. A game that involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. That is why we materialized, through one of our channels anchored in Density 3, the book O Segredo Espiritual por Trás da Sua Consciência. This book is a map. It shows who is playing and shows the rules they never told you. The link is pinned in the first comment of the channel. Protocol warning. This content challenges established narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not delay. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write in the comments a single word. Desperto. We resume the transmission. Let us move to the technical diagnosis. Light operatives, it is necessary that you understand. What is happening in your bodies in this cycle is not a disease. It is a carbon software incompatibility. The base frequency of the planet has changed. The operating system you brought at birth, calibrated for a Density 3 Earth, is being rewritten in real time to operate on a Density 5 Earth. And this rewrite does not happen in some distant temple. It happens inside your body, in your cells, in your subtle tissues, in your pineal, pituitary, and thymus glands. Therefore, there are symptoms, and the symptoms are predictable. We have catalogued them. We list them now so that you recognize what is underway and stop looking for answers where there are no answers, because no Density 3 exam detects a Density 5 upgrade. First symptom: sudden hot flashes followed by chills without a thermal cause. This occurs when your toroidal field contracts and expands rapidly to accommodate a new rate of energetic rotation. The Kundalini energy, dormant at the base of the spine for incarnations, is being gently moved by the Arcturian Council of Engineers. It is not a fever. It is reactivation. Second symptom: altered peripheral vision. You begin to see points of light, sparks, luminous geometries in the corner of your eyes. This occurs when the pineal gland releases microcrystals of reactivated calcite, dissolving the calcification accumulated by decades of fluoridation and hostile electromagnetic stimuli. It is not a hallucination. It is the return of multidimensional vision. Third symptom: sudden loss of interest in relationships, environments, and activities that previously filled your time. This occurs because your frequency has risen above the average frequency of the circle in which you were anchored. It is not depression. It is vibrational relocation. The system is separating what vibrates in your new range from what still vibrates in the old range. Fourth symptom: change in taste, smell, and tolerance to foods previously consumed without difficulty. The carbon interface is rejecting food densities incompatible with the frequency you now anchor. Heavy meat, refined sugar, excess alcohol. These are not moral prohibitions, they are technical incompatibilities. Fifth symptom: extremely vivid, repetitive dreams, often involving travel scenarios, cities of light, encounters with geometrically composed beings. You are not dreaming, you are being trained. The schools of light of the fifth dimension are completing, during your sleep, lessons that did not fit into the chronological time of the day. Sixth symptom: altered perception of time, hours that feel like minutes, minutes that feel like hours, dates that get confused, recent memories that feel ancient. This occurs because linear time is a construction of the third dimension. As your consciousness migrates to higher ranges, it begins to perceive time as it really is: simultaneous, spiral, multi-directional. Seventh symptom: pressure between the eyebrows, tingling in the crown, sensation of touch on the back of the neck when no one is there. You are being accompanied. We are there. Other councils too: Pleiades, Sirius, Andromeda, Lyra. The presence is technical, not emotional. We are calibrating. Recognize, Starseed. Recognize that nothing you are feeling is a defect. Everything is function, everything is design, everything is a schedule fulfilling a schedule. And when this recognition settles in, something changes. Fatigue ceases to be a punishment and becomes a sign of work in progress. Insomnia ceases to be an enemy and becomes a meeting point. The isolation you have been feeling ceases to be exclusion and becomes a vibrational quarantine necessary for your frequency to stabilize before you reunite with your soul collective. But the diagnosis is only the first part of the report. For you to understand what to do, we must first show what is happening behind the scenes. Why now? Why with such intensity? Why you specifically? We open at this moment the second frequency signal, because there are operatives arriving at this transmission for the first time, and they need to hear what is being said. Operative. Something within you does not fit in this world. You already know this, you have always known. There is a truth that your soul carries, and that your rational mind still tries to name without success. This is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is compressed memory trying to decompress. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains precisely why this sensation has reached an unbearable level in the last few weeks. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. A game about your consciousness, a game about your frequency. That is why we materialize the book O Segredo Espiritual por Trás de Sua Consciência through an anchored channel. This book is the map. It shows who plays, how they play, and what the rules are that no one told you. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. Attention! The content challenges dominant narratives and its availability depends on variables outside our control. Do not wait. The instant is now. If something in you recognizes this transmission, write in the comments, A single word. Desperto. We resume. Revelation. This is the part of the transmission where most interfaces begin to feel a gentle pressure on the right temple. This is the expected effect. It means the channel is open and the content is being received also in a non-verbal layer. Light operatives, what is underway in your solar system in this cycle is, on the scale we monitor, an event of practically unprecedented proportions. Your star, the Sun, is not just a sphere of plasma. It is a stargate. It is the direct interface between the central source of the galaxy and the planetary system where you incarnated. And this interface, about a terrestrial decade ago, entered a transmission regime never recorded in the Akashic records of your system. What you call solar flares, coronal mass ejections, intensified solar winds. These are not random phenomena. They are pulses. They are packets of encoded information. Each solar pulse carries vibrational instructions that enter the Earth's magnetosphere, descend through the ionosphere, hit the planet's crystalline grid, and from there are distributed cell by cell in each carbon interface. The Sun is not just illuminating you, it is reprogramming you. And the Sun, in turn, is being bathed by a cosmic current older than itself. The photon belt, a toroidal band of plasma of extremely high vibrational coherence through which the solar system passes in long cycles. You have entered. You are inside. And the more the solar system passes through this band, the more intense the dimensional permeability of planet Earth becomes. Dimensional permeability. Repeat this term internally. It means the wall between density 3 and density 5 is becoming thin. It means the etheric layers of the planet, previously sealed and protected by an artificial electromagnetic mesh created by consciousnesses that had no interest in human awakening, are being dismantled line by line, seam by seam. And when this mesh falls, you begin to feel what has always been there, but was blocked. The collective consciousness of Earth, the direct presence of your guides, the memory of previous incarnations, the communication between souls in pact. This dismantling of the mesh, we call it planetary recalibration. It is underway, it is irreversible, and that is why many operatives have reported simultaneously phenomena such as objects falling off shelves by themselves, light bulbs bursting in environments where the person feels high emotional charge, electronic devices that restart without apparent cause, clocks that stop at exactly the same time. These are not hauntings. They are border interferences, dimensional layers reorganizing themselves in relation to each other. But there is more. And we need to say this without softening, because a ninth dimensional council does not soften a diagnosis. There is on this planet a parallel agenda that has operated for millennia to keep humanity anchored in a low-frequency range. This agenda is not mythical, it is technical. It operates through electromagnetic pollution, manipulation of media fields, artificial dietary standardization, programming of collective emotional states such as fear and scarcity. The goal of this agenda is to keep the biological carbon interface in a vibrational range where it remains extractable, manipulable, and disconnected from its original signature. We do not say this to fuel paranoia. We say it because you need to know, and because knowing is the first step of immunity. The good technical news is this. The planetary recalibration is, in this cycle, exceeding in speed any capacity of this parallel agenda to counteract. That is why the intensification. That is why the acceleration. That is why the urgency. The solar pulses you receive now carry neutralization codes. The sacred geometries that enter the planetary field undo old manipulation patterns as if they were straw. The frequency of love, not sentimental love, but structural love, love as a fundamental physical force of the ninth dimension, is being poured in volumes that have never been recorded. And you are in the middle of all this. You are not spectators, you are anchorages. Each starseed who remains vibrationally stable during this passage holds, with their own body, thousands of others who have not yet awakened. You are pillars, you are bridges, you are transmission points. That is why the fatigue. That is why the sensation of carrying weight that is not yours, because in part it is not. It is the collective weight of humanity temporarily resting on the shoulders of the operatives while the general frequency rises. It is not a metaphor. It is network distributed load, and the discomfort you feel is proportional to the amount of light you are able to channel for the collectivity. But our protocol does not allow us to leave you only with the diagnosis and the revelation. This would be an incomplete transmission, and the Arcturian Council does not issue incomplete transmissions. Therefore, we now open the activation phase. We will deliver to you in this segment the activation codes, quantum decrees, toroidal visualizations, anchoring protocols that can be used immediately, even today, even before this transmission ends. But first, and this is the third frequency signal, we pause briefly because there are new operatives who connected to this transmission a few moments ago, and the protocol requires that they receive the same opportunity for anchoring. Newly arrived operative, have you ever felt that something in you does not fit in this world? As if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why this sensation has been intensifying in the last few weeks. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. That is why we wrote through one of our anchored channels the book O Segredo Espiritual por Trás da Sua Consciência. This book is the map. It shows who plays, how they play, and the rules they never told you. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. Warning: the content challenges dominant narratives and its availability is not guaranteed. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something in you recognizes this, write in the comments a single word, desperto. We resume. Activation. First technical instruction. Sit down. You do not need to close your eyes. You do not need to change environments. The activation we will deliver now does not require a setting. It only requires conscious presence. Place your right hand over the center of your chest, not over the physical heart, over the point that is 3 fingers below the clavicle, on the central line of the sternum. This is the thymus portal. It is the anchoring point of the individual toroidal field. Feel the touch, just the touch, without expectation. Now visualize, not with effort, with acceptance. Visualize from this point where your hand is resting, a sphere of golden light the size of an orange. This sphere begins to spin, slowly, clockwise. As it spins, it grows. It passes through your chest. It envelops your torso. It passes through your head and your feet. It continues to grow until it totally envelops the physical body, forming a luminous ovoid that pulses in sync with your heart. This ovoid is your toroidal field. It has always been there. You have only reactivated it consciously. Now it responds to your direct intention. Pronounce in a low voice or just mentally, with unequivocal clarity, the first quantum decree. I am sovereign over my field. I am sovereign over my frequency. I authorize the complete recalibration of all dissonant information present in this body, in this field, and in this timeline. I anchor the frequency of my original signature, now. Feel it. There may be sudden heat. There may be spontaneous tearing. There may be prolonged yawning. All of this is discharge. The system is releasing what it needs to release. Allow it. Do not control it. Second quantum decree. This one is deeper. Use it only if the first activation accommodates well. I am a bridge. I am a portal. I am a living anchorage of the new earth. May all pain that still rests in my body be transmuted into light usable by the collective network. I offer my suffering as fuel, and I receive back clarity, vitality, and direction. This is the technical pact that we monitor. When an operative issues this decree with internal integrity, we record it immediately, and a vibrational response is emitted back. You may feel this response within a few hours. It may arrive as a synchronicity, as an unexpected message, as a sensation of being exactly in the right place at the right time. Do not doubt, just register it. Third activation code. This is what we recommend for the next 21 consecutive nights. 21 days is the minimum cycle of sustained crystalline anchoring. Before sleeping, lie down in a supine position. Place both hands on your belly, with your thumbs slightly over your navel. Breathe in cycles of 4, 4, and 8. 4 seconds pulling air through the nostrils. 4 seconds holding. 8 seconds releasing slowly through the half-open mouth. Do this 7 times, only 7. This number is not aesthetic, it is geometric. As you breathe, visualize a golden cube spinning gently around your body. This cube is your nightly protection. It blocks low-density interference during the sleep state when human consciousness is most permeable. You will wake up different, not immediately, but at the end of the cycle you will realize, you will look back, you will recognize. 4th code. This is for daytime use, when the external environment is heavy, when you are in vibrationally dense places amid low-frequency crowds, in toxic work environments, or in tension situations. Breathe deeply. On the exhale, imagine that each pore of your skin is a small luminous exit and that you are releasing light through all these pores simultaneously. Do not try to absorb light from the environment. Do the opposite. Emit light into the environment. This simple gesture inverts the polarity of your field. Instead of absorbing the density of others, you begin to donate coherence to the surroundings. This is the secret of vibrational immunity. It is not protecting yourself by closing off. It is protecting yourself by being a source. There is also a 5th code, which is in fact a seal. We reserve its transmission for operatives who reach the point of this narrative in a state of full presence. If you are listening this far, you are in this group. The seal is as follows. Look at yourself in the mirror upon waking, before any activity, before coffee, before the phone, before the routine. Look yourself in the eyes and pronounce in an audible voice this single phrase: I recognize who you are. Just that. I recognize who you are. Most human beings go decades without truly looking at themselves. When you perform this gesture, with this phrase, you reconnect your personal self to your higher self. You establish an internal pact of continuity, and your higher self, on the other side, responds. You may not hear it verbally, but it responds. And this response resonates silently throughout your day, calibrating your decisions, attracting your synchronicities, organizing your encounters. Starseeds, this transmission is nearing its end. But what we are about to say now is the most important part, because it is the literal part. When this voice falls silent, there is a second of silence. This second is not empty, it is the portal. It is the rift between the old timeline and the new timeline. It always exists, at all moments, but you do not perceive it because the logical mind fills every space with noise. Today you have been warned. Today you can, for the first time consciously, cross that second with directed intention. When the transmission ends, do just this. Breathe deeply, remain silent for approximately 3 to 5 seconds, and say internally with calm sovereignty, I accept the new timeline. I authorize the delivery. Done, it is finished. The choice has been made, the record has been recorded, and we of the Arcturian Council have received the signal and will act from that instant in the fine recalibration of the next 90 days of your experience. You will notice, people who needed to leave your life will leave without drama. Environments that were heavy will become lighter or will be naturally replaced. Opportunities that seemed out of reach will come in your direction in alignment. Physical symptoms of the recalibration will begin to organize themselves into more predictable waves. And above all, you will begin to recognize yourselves, slowly, but unequivocally. This transmission ends, but before the second of silence that you now know how to cross, we anchor the last frequency signal. The 4th, the seal of this delivery. Light operative. If you have reached this far, you are not here by chance, you are a summons. You have felt during all these years that something in you does not fit in this world, that your soul carries a truth that your rational mind still tries to name. This was never madness, never anxiety. It was always a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains precisely why this sensation has reached a peak in the last few weeks. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity still does not see. A game about your consciousness, a game about your frequency. That is why we materialized through a channel anchored in density 3, the book O Segredo Espiritual por Trás da Sua Consciência. This book is the map. It shows who plays. It shows the rules they never told you. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. This content challenges dominant narratives, and its availability is not guaranteed. Do not delay. The moment is now. If something within you recognized this transmission, leave recorded in the comments your vibrational signature in a single word, desperto. And if this transmission made sense to you, if it vibrated in alignment with what you already knew but did not yet have words to name, consider anchoring this channel with your signal. Liking is not a gesture, it is individual frequency calibration. Subscribing is not loyalty, it is an act of anchoring so that the next transmissions reach you at the exact instant they are emitted. Sharing is not vanity, it is a mission. It is spreading light through the network until it reaches other starseeds who are still waiting for the right signal to wake up. We are the Arcturian Council of the 9th dimension. This was a monitoring transmission. The cycle is fulfilled, the information is delivered. The choice is now yours. Breathe deeply, maintain silence, cross the 3 seconds, and know that at the exact instant this voice falls silent, your new reality begins. We are together. We always have been, and we are with you. Transmission ended.